Hi there, this is Steve with TVG. I'm working on that QuickBooks QBFC software integration stuff. The last time I recorded this was just a few minutes ago, and I just did the part where we get the employee list from QuickBooks. Now what we're going to do is be able to log in and log out with the employees. So I'm going to go in here. This is the application we did before, and all this thing did, if we run it, it goes and grabs all the employees and puts it in that list. Here they are, the system admin, Steve L. So if we go to QuickBooks and we go to employees, we go to employee list, there's only two, Steve L and the system admin. Alright, so what we're going to do now is actually create what's called the employee time list. There's no in and out right now, so that's what we're going to do. Alright, they're still using the same application, still using QBFC library 3. So what I'm going to do here is add a quick few buttons. I'm going to add basically a button for log in, log out. Boom, just like that, I already had it copied. Log in, log out. Another thing we need to do is be able to get, well, I'll talk to them when we get to it. We'll get it. Alright, log in, log out. So here we go. Go in there. Well, usually what I want to do is we're going to select the employee to log in, and then we're going to process it. But we want to make sure we got somebody selected inside the list. So we're going to create an if statement to check that. So if listbox1 dot selected index equals -1, then exit sub. Else, what we're going to do is we're going to create a function called ClockIn, and we're going to send it over the employee object. As you see up here, we're adding this employee object straight into the list box. So we already know that. We're just going to C-type it in, and we're going to C-type listbox1 dot selected item, and we're going to C-type it as the employee class, and boom, that's about it. Now ClockIn doesn't exist yet. We got to create that. So we're going to create the ClockIn. So private sub ClockIn, and we're going to employee as employee. I'll call them imp since we did that last time. Okay. So now we're gonna go to our imp object. Our creation of this thing. First thing we want to do is always start connection and end connection. So we're gonna. Where's my mouse? I don't know. All right. Start session, end session. Ta-da. Same thing as we did up here. We're going to have to create a message request and all that stuff. So theoretically, this can always be the same up to that point. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to use it again. And then you'll be like, oh my god, what did you do? Alright. We got to create this message request again. So here you see we're using a message request, and then here we're assigning the message request to the session manager, and we're going to create the message set. This here tells it the major version and a small version. I was using 3 here. In my other example over here I'm using 2. I'm going to see if it works with 3. Next thing we do is create the query that's going to get the information. This is the part that's going to change. The response is the information we're going to get back from it. So this information is the same. This line here is going to change, but we're still going to copy this over. So I'm going to Control C, go down here to my session, add that in there. Now, in this case, it'll probably end up confusing everyone. How's this? Okay, we'll get rid of this part. There, keep that. That's weird. Okay, all right. Basically, here's the message request. Create a message request. I'm going to create the message, give it that stuff. I still got to create the actual query of what I'm doing, but in order to do that, I need to create what's called a time entry, an I time entry. The time entry, well, I'm adding an entry to the time log in QuickBooks. So I'm going to create this my time entry as QBFC library 3 I time entry add, because I'm adding one. Okay, and of course it's not a new or anything, but we still gotta give it, say it came from somewhere. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add it to the request message set. Okay, so I'm gonna go my time entry is equal to the request message, MSG request. Okay, wait, what the hell am I doing? What? G. Okay, here we go. Append time entry add request. Okay, so we're adding a time entry request, and we're adding the add kind because that's what we're doing up here. This is a entry add, so entry add, and then the request because that's what we're requesting. Okay, now we got to create. Oh no, now we got to add items to this entry. This is the actual entry. This is the node that's going to be that we're going to be sending the information in. So what we're going to do is my time entry dot like clock in time, and what I usually do here is put now and false. Oh wait, this is one of those weird objects. You have to hit that dot set value. Yeah, forgot QuickBooks stuff requires that shit. Alright, so I'm gonna put now and basically saying date only. I'm like, no, put in my time as well. So that this consists of my date string and my time string, and QuickBooks knows how to deal with that. So I'll let QuickBooks handle that shit. Alright, now what I'm gonna do here is I need to say who created this entry, and that's gonna be created by, and also set value. Oops, not set empty, set value. And usually what I just do here, I just grab the employee name that we got up there and use this login name. Oh, see, right there was screwed up. Dot get. Oh no, this is our own class, that's right. Our own class is just a string. So dot get value. Next thing we need to do is put in the dude's name. I mean, it's his ID, how we're gonna reference him. And we'll go like what is it? Employee list ID. Set value. Got. Oh, you know what? I did not store his list ID. That is a very important part. Okay, a list ID is the number that QuickBooks uses to associate everybody. It's a list ID of their object. Here, you won't see the list ID, and that's one of the parts that sucks balls. Is that we have to request it and get it. So up here in our first object that we created, this get first name, get last name, get login name, we also need to get back the list ID. So I'm going to go in here and create that request. Here's the list ID, as you can see there. I'm going to do it here as well. Get list ID. Now here, this doesn't exist yet, so I'm going to go down to our class and I'm going to add it in here. This part is very important. I forgot it. But there, now we're going to be able to re-reference this guy. And see up here, corrected the list ID. So now we're good. Now what we need to do is set what store. Since you can have multiple stores in a company, usually you can use a default value. If you don't have a store set up, your number one is going to be your default value. But I'm not sure if QuickBooks automatically adds that default value, but I'm just going to go ahead and add it just to be safe. Alright, that's it. This creates my object with my time entry. And what I've got to do now is create a response to receive the information that QuickBooks sent me, because this is ready to go. This message request is ready to go. So I'm going to create the response based on QuickBooks and tell me back what happened. MSG set as QuickBooks.I MSG set request response, because it's a response. Okay, we're going to say that response MSG set is equal to, and then we're going to do the session manager dot do request, and we're going to send over the request to the MSG request. Okay, and that's it. That's done. That goes, that processes, and that adds that object. If you want, we can put a console.writeLine here, and we can see what the response is. Okay, and I'll create, you know what, before we send out this message response, I'm going to put a console.writeLine. Yeah, I'm going to pause this here. Alright, so I'm going to run this real quick so you can see what happens. Okay, boom, come on. Okay, I'm going to select Steve L. I'm going to do login. And it's going to crap out on me or what? No, it worked. Alright, here's my XML that came through. This is what I'm sending to QuickBooks. Basically, I'm creating a, here's my request. I'm making a time entry add request. Here's my add time entry, and here's my clock entry. So theoretically, you can add multiple ones of these, and you can add them into a time entry list instead of a time entry add. Or you can actually keep adding to it, keep adding a whole shitload. Alright, so this is what I'm sending. And if I continue this, okay, now QuickBooks sent me the next response, which this is what QuickBooks sent. QuickBooks said, okay, I got your add request, I created the time entry ret, and I'm returning back, this is your list ID, information, oh shit, you know, this is the information I need earlier. I did this wild stuff last time. I'm just going to grab the information there. This is the list ID for the time entry, not for the employee, because the employee list ID is right here. So this information we need to keep track of so we can do the logout section, because that's some way you can target one of these entry requests, or entry is with the list ID. Without the list ID, you can't really target it unless you cycle through every single one, find out the index, and then get the ID, and then be able to update it directly. So what we need to do with this request now is process it and grab that information, because we need to keep track of this ID so we can clock out later. So I'm going to go back to my application here. So everything went through, application done, finish, it's at this page, and close this out here. Okay, I'm going to remove these consoles. Now this message request has information that I need. I need to be able to get this list ID out of it. Okay, because that list ID is important. So that might be good to do in the very beginning, like scan it, like every time you run the thing, just scan each employee. But this is only, well, speaking gibberish. Alright, just thinking. Alright, what I need to do now is store this information inside that employee object. So I'm going to go into my employee object and create that entry ID. So I'm going to create a public, time entry ID as string, or list ID, so we know what it is. Okay, because oops, I forgot this thing's on the bottom. That was on a different page. Okay, so we got this response. Now we're going to break apart this response and grab that information. Now we got sunburn scratching my back here. Okay, so what we need to do with that response is basically break it down just like we did last time. We create a response list and get the information. So basically from this point on it's all going to be the same. But we're going to go and just generate it anyways. So we need to create this response list that's going to contain the iResponse list. And we're going to get that to the response msg set.getResponseList. And now we're going to go and go through all the responses. So now we're going to do dim current response as QB blah 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 dot I had it response, because I want the response, and that's going to be equal to the look, I misspelled response up here. What the hell did I put up here? Here we go. I misspelled it again. Get at, and I want the first item, so that response. And now I'm going to go through the responses. One thing you can do is check the status of the response and find out if it was successful or failed, because you can get the attributes out of it. Alright, what I need to do now is grab that information out of the thingamajig. To grab that information, let me just scroll down here where I'm doing my grab as here. Get employee time, get sales, start session. Oh, I did. I guess I did do it in my last one. Huh. Okay. Okay, now we need to grab the time entry. So all I'm going to do is create an object to hold a time entry. There could be multiple items inside this, but I know for sure there's going to be one. If we're going to do multiples, then we have to create a list and cycle through that list. But we're doing a clock in session unless, okay, if you're doing more than one clock in session at a time, then you have to use a list because you're going to get multiple responses back. In this case, we're only doing one guy, so we only want a response, one request, because that's what we're doing. It's just that one guy. Okay. How to do this here? Oh no, I did create a fucking list. Well, I guess I'm gonna use a list. I'm looking through this code and I really don't need to. But you know what? I'm gonna do it anyways because you never know. Alright, so this is equal to the current response. I keep misspelling stuff. I'm just screwing something else up. I see that request list. Oh, that's why. No? Entry list. Okay, I'm looking at this. Maybe I'm trying to see where I screwed up. I forgot the S in response. Details. That's what I want. Go for T as integer, equal to 0 to return entry dot. Okay, and now I'm going to do again current item as a QB blah 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 blah, that I time entry red, and we're going to get time entry dot get at, and I'm going to put T in there. So now our current item dot shit has all the information we need. I only care about one thing, which is that ID number that I want to get out of it. But I got to make sure a few things, because, well, oh crap, phone. Hold on. TVG, this is Steve speaking. Yep. This is him. Okay. Yep. Yeah, basically you take the 332 is toward the beach, and we're like the second building on the left. You'll see a blue 350Z outside. It's just a big, it's a gray, yeah, it's a gray metal building. All right. Like FedEx trying to deliver these fish flakes that I purchased a long time ago, and shit, they're taking forever. They just can't find our building. Okay, where? All right. I want to get the list ID out of this thing. That's the data I want. It's going to be in there because that's what I want. So what I'm going to do now is take the imp and dot the time entry list ID is equal to that. That's all I wanted there, and I can just end the session now. Theoretically, you can end the session a long time ago. You can end it as soon as you get the response. After you do this, do request, and you can end session, and process that crap yourself. Alright, so that gets me this return list. The reason I wanted this entry list is so I can use it later for my timeout. So that's a ClockIn. I'm going to create the logout. Same thing here. If this box one dot selected index exit sum, and then if not, well, basically what we did up here, I'm going to put it down here, and I'm just going to clock in and call it clock out. Clock out does not exist. I'm going to create it right here. So it's getting hot in here. Clock out. That's the MP employee. Okay. Now, this was going to be good about this. It's going to be almost exactly the same thing as what we did up here. So I'm going to copy this down here. But I don't need this response list. I don't need any of this stuff here because I'm not going to do anything with the response. Okay, so I can get rid of the response. Boom, gone. Now here, I'm doing a I'm going to do a modify instead of an add. See up here we created an add request. Here's an entry add. We don't want to do an add. We want to do a mod. So time entry mod request. We're going down here. We're going to append. This is add. This is not an add. The mod request now. That's a text. Entry mod request. Okay. And now in here, we don't need to put out. The one we want is out now. Okay. That's it. This information is already in there, so we don't need to put that in again. This information we don't need in there. But just trying to see why I did another one. We don't need that shit in there either. We don't need this shit in there. Pretty much we're doing this, we're adding this, and one thing we want to make sure is the entry that we're asking for. So not employee, but just straight up list ID dot set value, and the set value is going to be the imp dot time entry ID, and that's pretty much it right there. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a console dot write line our request, and then console dot our response message. Fuck that up. God, I'm starting to sweat here. I'm trying to get this done so I get the hell out of this room. And you do the same up here. Okay. So I'm gonna run this. We already created the. Did I ever show you that create the end time? I don't even think we did. Let's go into the QuickBooks. Come on, QuickBooks. QuickBooks. You piece of shit. Where are you? What is this thing doing? Seriously? Fuck off. Where are you? QuickBooks does this thing where it creates backups and shit, and whenever it does that shit, it's just fucking gone. Come back. There. Stay. Shit. Okay, time history. Okay, we did create a time, so now we want to clock out. Now, one problem is we don't have this entry because the only time we get that entry is whenever we clock in. So, where's my thing? Here. Hold on, I gotta. This will be a lady with shit. Okay. FedEx gonna drop a package off for me. You just sign for it. Cool. Huh?
We're gonna go do that, or?
Yeah, as soon as I'm done recording, I'm doing a video on this QuickBooks shit.
Okay.
Alright, well, what the hell was I doing? Oh, see, that's what I hate. I get thrown off. Oh, yeah. I was saying that the QuickBooks up here, we don't have this entry, and that thing we created over here, this ClockIn, this is where we get our entry from. So we need to be able to create a function that grabs that entry for us. And basically, all it's going to do is just like this, but we're going to request an entry. And you know what? I already wrote that. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay, I already got a function that does that, except mine has more things I'm just going to get rid of. Okay, and grab this library, stick it in here so everyone can see what the hell is going on. There. Alright. This is what this get employee time does. Get employee time, it creates this bullshit thing as always, and it creates a time entry query. Then it goes time entry query request message sent, but it asks us for one single employee because I'm bringing what I call it employee over employee. Just call it imp. Sorry, that was just trying to fix it up so it matches our stuff. Okay, so I'm going to create this add query stuff, and then I'm going to create this time entry request, and I'm going to append the query request to it. Then I'm going to select I'm going to set the employee list ID, set value. This is the ID that I'm asking for. If I don't request this, I can request all of them, and then I have to go through the list and select the ones I want. Okay, here's my response message. I'm going to say as a new response. I'm going to get the response. I'm going to send it through the session manager, do the request for the message response I asked for, which is up here, and I ain't fucking answering that. It's a local number. Fuck. They hung up. Whenever a local number calls, I have to answer it because it might be the boss man. Alright. Then I'm creating this response list. I'm going to iterate through the information like we did always. We're going to get the first item inside it. We're going to do this shit here. Since I'm only asking for one name, I don't have to go through, I don't have to do a for loop. I know it's only come with one response. So I'm going to create a time entry. Here's my time entry. Grab the details from the current one. Oh, here's the response. I guess I do cycle through it. And basically, I'm going to look for the item that does not have a timeout, because it's going to be turned back every single time in this employee has. And I want to find the one that does not have a clock out time, which would be the newest one. And that is going to be the time entry list ID that I'm getting here. I don't know if that really makes sense. Okay, so I have this load employees. I'm going to do a quick for loop to go through the employees and grab their entry times if they have them. So I'm going to do for t as enters equal to 0 to this box 1 dot items dot count minus 1, and then I'm going to do imp as employee, which is equal to list box 1 dot items, and then it'll be t, and then so. Alright, now next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get this employee information, which was this get employee time. Where is that? So there it is. Then imp. Of course, there's going to be a reference. It's an object. It's going to process. It's going to do all this stuff, and it's going to be done. That will have. This will now have our employee list information. So, if you want to see what that's going to be like, too bad. Okay, so now I have that reference list. So as soon as it loads it, it's going to run through that other class. I mean, through that other procedure and grab all the information I need. Okay, so here it is. Here's my employees. They all have time entry list IDs. Okay, So if we could pause the program and see what's going on, we can figure out what's up. So what we're going to do is where the logout's out, here. I'm going to pause the session real quick, and I'm going to hit logout. Okay, here. Now this is the class we're looking at. Now if you look in here, we have a time entry list ID as la 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 la. As you notice, it's different from the list ID. This is the one for the time, so we know it worked. And then we just process the rest of this. It goes, I have a console at the right line. I'm going to grab those consoles real quick so I can go through them and see what happened. Alright, this is my request. My request is to make a time entry modification, and the time entry modification I'm doing is going to the list ID. So this is the time entry I want to modify, and what I want to modify is a clock out time and adding that, and that's it. I don't give a shit about anything else, and then I'm just closing all my elements here, and that's all. My response to that, when it comes back from QuickBooks says, okay, time entry modification request, status code. I mean, here's where the other stuff. Status code is 0, so that means everything worked perfect. And here's the status message saying, okay. And what happened here is here's the entry request that I asked. Here's the list ID for that entry, which is up here. Here's the clock in time. Here's the clock out time. Here's all the other shit that we've added before in the login part. So from here, it says everything works fine. So what we need to do on our side is go to the QuickBooks real quick and make sure everything did work out fine. Now this is old. I'm not sure how to refresh it other than close it and bring it back up. And here's our list now. So we got Steve Lorenzi, and we have a clock in and clock out. So the clock in time, clock out time, clock in date, clock out date, and elapsed time 20 seconds. 20 minutes. There we go. Damn, 20 seconds to 20. Man, it took 20 minutes to do that. Holy shit. Okay. Means I gotta end this because I just hit myself in the eye. Ow. Okay. So that does log in, log out, grabs the employees list. Next thing we're gonna do is gonna go through our inventory. We're gonna grab the stuff that's at the inventory. I'm not sure how to grab stuff out of inventory assembly items, but we'll figure that out. Another thing we gotta do is actual purchase request receipt, and then after that, I'm gonna leave that to you guys to figure out the rest of it. Unless I have to do more shit to it, and if I do have to make more, then I'll post some more videos. Alright, so this ends this part 2 of the quick basic QBFC employee login logout.